From the reckless and impulsive badass Beth Dutton to the ruthless and dirty landowner Dan Jenkins, these are the most hated Yellowstone cast members. While she may be everyone's favorite badass girl boss, you gotta admit that Beth Dutton is also pretty brutal. We know John, who's super proud of his land and his family, but he's been struggling to keep them all in line and under his roof. Then there's Beth, his emotionally unstable but super loyal daughter. She's like a fierce mama bear, ready to do whatever it takes to support and protect her dad. The problem is, her impulsive nature sometimes leads to unintended consequences and ends up hurting the people around her. Now let's talk about Beth's approach to life. She's all or nothing, there's no in-between for her. When she wants something, she's willing to bulldoze anyone standing in her way to make it happen. And boy, has she caused some serious family drama with her go-getter attitude. Her actions have put the family through the ringer countless times and even played a big role in Jamie's eventual betrayal. And when it comes to discussing and negotiating, Beth's style isn't exactly prim and proper. She's more of a foul language and fists kind of person. Just look at that brutal brawl she had with John's love interest, Summer. Now, in each upcoming season of Yellowstone, things get even wilder. Beth is going to find herself at war, not only with Jamie, but also with market equities. She's really starting to push Rip's limits too, but lucky for her, he can handle himself. But while Beth may have good intentions very deep down, the sneaky, no-good real estate mogul, Malcolm Beck doesn't have any motivation other than greed. Now, while there have been plenty of bad guys causing trouble in Yellowstone, none quite left their mark on the Montana landscape like Beck. Played by the talented Neil McDonough, Beck had a bone to pick with the Dutton family, and he took it personally. He didn't just stab them in the back once or twice. Oh no. Beck was determined to get his greedy paws on the Duttons' huge ranch. He wasn't dreaming of becoming a cattleman. Nope. This shady developer had his eyes set on turning that beautiful piece of land into a flashy, over-the-top casino. Beck's quest to take over the Dutton ranch led to an all-out war with John Dutton and his family. He was like a gangsta, relentlessly battling with them, resorting to all sorts of dirty tactics along the way. This guy kicked, screamed, and even shed blood to get what he wanted. But out of all the despicable things Beck did during Yellowstone's heart-pounding second season, the absolute worst was when he orchestrated the kidnapping of John's young grandson, Tate. And guess who he got involved with? A bunch of nasty neo-Nazis. But the Yellowstone patriarch that he's up against isn't all that good either. John Dutton has definitely made a lasting impression on viewers, but not necessarily in a good way according to some fans. He might be one of the main characters, but some fans feel as if he's finished his run. They're actually hoping that he leaves the show in a dramatic turn of events, because he is, after all, one of the main characters. But why is he so disliked? Well, as a businessman, he has a reputation for being ruthless and cutthroat. He's all about protecting his family's interests, even if it means resorting to shady tactics and making morally questionable decisions. On top of that, John has this stoic and unemotional vibe going on, which makes it hard for viewers to relate to him. He's like a closed book, keeping his feelings and thoughts to himself. And let's not forget about his actions and decisions. Sometimes John goes against what's morally right and makes choices that harm others. Yeah, not exactly the stuff heroes are made of. He's got that anti-hero thing going on, which can rub people the wrong way. Oh, and his way of speaking? Very confusing. John loves to speak in riddles and make vague statements, leaving viewers scratching their heads. And his daughter-in-law is no better either. Let me tell you why Monica Dutton has made this list. You know how everyone has their favorite and least favorite characters? Well, your favorite might be the one your neighbor absolutely can't stand. But the most hated person on the ranch is actually the quiet sister-in-law, Monica Dutton. Now, don't get me wrong. Monica isn't some evil mastermind or a sneaky backstabber. She's actually quite the opposite. She's a kind and nurturing person who always seems to end up in the wrong place at the wrong time. Monica herself kind of figured out why she's so disliked. In one episode, she explains how Beth has every reason to hate her because she's an outsider. But instead of hating Monica, Beth surprisingly defends her. It's like a little character redemption for Monica, thanks to her sister-in-law. Now I get it. As viewers, we don't really have any personal stakes in this whole drama, so we tend to be less forgiving. That's why you see all that unfiltered hate for Monica on social media and Reddit. People just don't give her the benefit of the doubt. But in Season 5, we're starting to see more of Monica's character, and it's pretty relatable. Remember that dinner table scene? Yeah, when she couldn't help but laugh as Summer Higgins made fun of the dinner menu? We were all thinking the same thing. It was awkward. Monica just said it out loud. And then, in another episode, she shut down Summer with a quick remark about her being an environmentalist from out of town. It wasn't violent or anything, but it hit the mark just like Beth Dutton's fiery actions. But while she may not be blood-related, even the direct Dutton family isn't all nice as you think. Jamie Dutton teamed up with his long-lost biological dad to take down the family that raised him and snatch their precious ranch. Talk about a rebellious move. Currently, Jamie's sitting pretty as a public enemy. Yeah, you heard me right. Jamie's disloyalty is causing quite a stir. See, before the show kicked off, he was the most devoted Dutton of them all. Case had practically cut ties with the family, and Beth was chasing financial superstardom in Salt Lake City. Meanwhile, Jamie had gone above and beyond for John and the ranch. The guy even became a lawyer to ensure its protection for future generations. Yeah, you gotta admit, that's dedication. Despite all his past loyalty, Jamie's now turning his back on the family that raised him. It's like a slap in the face. We're left wondering just how far he'll go in this betrayal. According to what we've seen so far, he's got some serious issues with the Dutton name. He feels like he's been treated as nothing more than fancy house staff all along. Even his career owes a debt to the Duttons. And it's not just the snakes of the family. Outside forces like Governor Linnell Perry also have beef with the Duttons, which is why she's hated. In the beginning, she was all about protecting the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch and keeping John's influence intact. But hey, let's not kid ourselves. Was it because she genuinely cared about the ranch and John? Or was it just a clever move to secure his powerful support and stay in the governor's seat? When Jamie throws his hat into the political ring, this lady starts showing her true colors. It turns out she's got a hankering for that Dutton power and couldn't care less about the ranch itself. As time goes by, she's made it clear that she's a politician through and through. Now, she's got a responsibility to look out for the interests of all her peeps. And let's not forget, John may own a big old chunk of the state, but he's still just the big boss of one family. Now, here's where it gets interesting. As she witnesses John's power waning and his heirs facing uncertainty, she starts entertaining other tempting offers. And she isn't the only one after the beloved Dutton Ranch. Joining her is the ruthless Dan Jenkins. The tough cookie of a property developer finds himself in the wild, wild west of Yellowstone. Now, he may not be the rugged cowboy type, used to the untamed wilderness, considering he hails from the bustling big city. But hey, that doesn't stop him from using his fancy business skills to try and snatch the Dutton's ranch. He's got this clever tax plan up his sleeve that almost works like a charm. The Duttons, being the intimidating bunch they are, threaten him with their sheer physical presence. Poor Dan wasn't prepared for that kind of showdown in the land of Big Sky. However, once Jenkins realizes just how cutthroat Montana can be, along with the unrelenting Dutton clan, he decides he won't back down without a fight. He's ready to get his hands dirty, so he joins forces with Thomas Rainwater to take on John Dutton. Toward the end of his time on the show, Jenkins starts picking up a thing or two about battling the Duttons on their own turf. He even hires some personal bodyguards and takes lessons on how to handle a sidearm. Sadly, though, he doesn't quite become a quick learner. While he gives the Duttons a run for their money, he falls short when it comes to matching the ferocity of a pair of Dutton nemesis, Malcolm and Teal Beck. Big mistake. Jenkins unwittingly becomes their enemy, and he simply isn't cut out for facing off against opponents who are far more ruthless. So there you have it, guys. From the ruthless and dirty landowner Dan Jenkins to the reckless and impulsive badass Beth Dutton. Those were the most hated Yellowstone cast members.